burden. So free yourself. Allow yourself just to be the football player that you are, the woman that you are, the teammate that you are. Fucking allow that energy and holster that in. Because quite frankly, this is the most relaxed I've ever gone into anything. That shit doesn't mean anything to me anymore. It's the past. And the past stays exactly where it is. From this day forward, we write chapter 2. What you about in chapter 2? What you about in chapter 2? I know what I'm about. I'm about banging and riding for y'all bitches. So if you ready to ride with me, let's go! Let's go! Let's motherfucking ride.
Hey, let's humble some people. Here we go. Let's fucking ride.
Big and nasty on 3. 1, 2, 3. Big and nasty.
Yeah, circle up, circle up, circle up, circle up.
Perfect. Remember that? I'm here to tell you, if you don't do that, if you don't come in with that mindset, you're going to be that bitch. We are ready. This is our championship game. This is our conference game. This is our game. And we ready. Just like I told y'all during warm-ups. I seen one girl that wasn't ready. She didn't play for the Bliss. Let's go. Let's go. Role players, y'all know what y'all got to do. Captains, y'all know what y'all got to do. Veterans, we know what we got to do. Coaches know what they got to do. So let's go fucking do it then.
Come on.
Okay?
Yep, let's go.
Boom on 3, boom on me. 1, 2, 3. Boom!
One of the league's most heated rivalries takes center stage next.
I just want to be given the chance,
You were the pioneers that built women's football.
the opportunity to succeed, or even to fail.
You are the league of their own.
Figure out what the you need to do mentally to be able to sacrifice everything for the girl next to you.
You better knock the shit out of it.
Put the hurt on them first. Keep them on the ground. Stick your foot on their throat.
LFL football night has arrived to the south side of Chicago. Welcome inside the booth of LFL football night. Mitch Mortaza and Bobby Huco, and we are in Chicago, Illinois. We talked about it earlier in the week. What an amazing matchup. The Atlanta Steam versus the Chicago Bliss, a pair of teams that faced off in the Eastern Conference Championship a few months ago, a game that Atlanta really had decisively and gave it up in the second half. You kind of get the feeling we're going to have another competitive ball game here.
In fact, I really think it's going to be competitive. Atlanta's a solid team, as Chicago is. The problem is Atlanta hasn't beaten Chicago in the last 6 tries. In fact, in the Eastern Conference Championship game last year, they were up 21-3 at halftime, blew it in the second half. Chicago made a furious comeback. Atlanta's got to play all 4 quarters tonight.
Now, speaking of Atlanta, in that production meeting earlier in the week, we talked about 2 rookies that have really stood out for Atlanta, specifically in your eyes. Who are those 2?
2 impact rookies. Jessica Salazar, a great player from Miami, needs to be on the field more. She's been backing up all fantasy Dina Wojcicki all season. She needs more touches tonight. And on defense, Cetrus Fox Birdwell, a short tackler, a cornerback, solid defensive back. I really think it's going to come down to Atlanta's defense tonight to beat Chicago.
That Atlanta defense, by the way, is up against the number 2 ranked offense in the league. That is the Chicago Bliss. And when you think of that offense, there's really 3 names that you circle out. One is A.J. Johnson, the breakout wide receiver who had an amazing 2016 season. Opposite her, Allie Alberts. She's an all-fantasy wide receiver coming back from suspension. And then it was going to be the quarterback, Jane Caldwell, the free agent signee from Los Angeles. How those 3 were going to mesh as far as chemistry. There's a lot of timing. A lot has to happen between quarterbacks and receivers. How do those 3 play out?
A lot of firepower on that Chicago roster. I love A.J. Johnson at wide receiver. She's a home run threat, catches everything around her, takes the top off of any coverage. And on the other side, you have all fantasy receiver Allie Alberts. Quite a combination. You mentioned the quarterback, the new quarterback for Chicago, Jane Caldwell. Off to a good start this year, but they haven't let her throw the ball down the field. With these weapons, she has to manage these weapons and throw deep balls tonight.
Certainly a lot of star athletes on one field. Can Atlanta finally beat Chicago? Or will Chicago once again prove they're the number 1 ranked team in the East? Kickoff is next. A look at beautiful downtown Chicago, Illinois, as LFL football night has come to town. Atlanta versus Chicago, an early season preview of potentially the Eastern Conference Championship.
I am fired up for this game tonight. 6 times in a row, Chicago has beaten Atlanta, but Atlanta gets so close every time.
That is a kick by Lauren Ziegler, kind of a short kick, fielded by Kim Perez, going west and east versus north-south. She'll lose a yard on that return.
Not a great kick at all, but good lane integrity. They held her back inside the 10-yard line. A good start there.
Great special teams coverage by Atlanta. Now we get a look at the number 5 ranked offense led by the Aussie quarterback, Jane Caldwell. We met up with her earlier.
It bothers me a lot that I'm not regarded as a franchise quarterback. I'm very competitive, and I'm not here just to compete. I'm here to be the best. So once my passing game comes together, I feel like I'll get that recognition I deserve in this league.
Well, that's it. She hit the nail on the head right there. She's got to get the passing game down. She's new to Chicago. She has great receivers with Allie Alberts and A.J. Johnson. The connection's not there yet. Her stats aren't good. She's making some early mistakes and fumbles. Once she cleans her act up and then wins a championship, she'll be considered a franchise quarterback.
That is a lot of ifs, Bobby Huco. Meanwhile, down on the field, we got a little bit of story already early. Shabria Civilian starting ahead of Christelle Harris, gaining 2 yards. Now setting up a 2nd and 8. Ball at about the 12-yard line. That is Caldwell back to pass and not connecting. Intended for Shabria Civilian. We're going to get a chance to meet the starters for Chicago.
A.J. Johnson, wide receiver.
Tamar Fennell, wide receiver. Quincy Hewitt, offensive line.
May Gamble, tight end.
Brittany Wilson, center. Ferrari Harris, the running back.
Jane Caldwell, your quarterback.
We know Chicago has a running game, but the question's going to be, can Caldwell get the ball down the field to Johnson and Allie Alberts?
Hey, they're trying. That was again intended for Shabria Civilian. Let's meet the Atlanta defense.
Amber Clark, cornerback. Quilla Franklin, cornerback. Adrian Purnell, the strong safety. Alfie Gore, defensive back. Jessica Salazar, middle linebacker. Keon Harrison, defensive end. Brittany Demery, defensive end.
The key tonight for Atlanta is that defensive line. Brittany Demery and Keon Harrison, they have to put pressure on quarterback Jane Caldwell.
Talk about pressure. Early in the game, a 4th and 8. Ball at your own 12-yard line. If you're Chicago, you've got to convert here.
Not a great start for Caldwell. I know she had a couple drops, but 4th and 8 early in the game.
Caldwell back to pass, looking to the left, down the field. She had a receiver. That was Javille Thompson that got behind the secondary. They could not connect as Atlanta now takes over.
A great call, wheel route by Javille Thompson. On the money, Jane Caldwell. That should have been 6 points.
Hey! I told you to jump off sides! Okay. I don't give a fuck what they tell you in the huddle!
Explain that logic to me, Bobby. That is head coach Keith Hack yelling at Shabria Civilian that why didn't you jump off sides there?
Unless he just wanted another down without taking a timeout. I don't understand it either. It would have been 4th and longer.
That is a 1st down handoff. Adrian Purnell. A gain of 6 yards, Deandra Fry, and Kim Perez on the tackle.
That is one of Dane Robinson's favorite plays, the Y under to Adrian Purnell. It always gets 5 or plus yardage. Adrian Purnell, we know her as a defensive player, but she can run the football.
Adrian Purnell, the Tampa, Florida native, has been an impact player on both sides of the ball, getting it done offensively. That is a 2nd down toss play to Demery. Demery only managing 3 yards as we meet Atlanta's starters.
Keandra Williams, wide receiver.
Lauren Ziegler, wide receiver.
Ariana Barton, your tight end.
Adrian Purnell,
Your tight end.
Dino Jowski, center. Jesse Locklear, running back.
Dakota Hughes, quarterback.
It's all on quarterback Dakota Hughes tonight. She has to get this team together to finally beat Chicago.
A 3rd and 1 toss play, and Demery being kept out of the end zone, led by Kristen Morrison and Allie Alberts. Let's meet Chicago's defense.
Dominique Collins, corner. Deandra Fry, cornerback.
Allie Alberts, free safety.
Kim Perez, strong safety.
Kristen Morrison,
Middle linebacker.
Marissa Galladay, defensive end.
Nakawani, D-end.
Coach Keith Hack said this team is the most talented defense he has ever coached.
The #1 ranked defense of 2017 being tested. That is the rookie, Jessica Salazar, getting into the end zone. Touchdown, Atlanta.
We mentioned Salazar in pregame. She is a beast. That's what they have to do. Give her touches, give her the football. She followed a great block by center Dina
I told you to jump
Wachowski.
offside. If you jumped offside, it's 4th down. We're inside the 10, we punt. Listen to what I'm fucking saying. I'm smarter than you.
There's the explanation we were waiting on. He wanted an offside so they could be backed up inside their own 10 so they can punt.
That makes a lot of sense, but Javelle Thompson, if she catches that football, it would have been 6 points for Chicago.
That is the extra point attempt, a locomotive. Brittany Demery waltzing into the end zone. That will extend Atlanta's lead to 8-0.
Early in the game, the Atlanta offensive line, Wachowski, Purnell, and Barton, they're dominating.
Coach Keith Hack not happy. Atlanta up 8-0. Back to LFL football night on the south side of Chicago, where the hometown trails Atlanta 8-0.
That is why Chicago went out and signed free agent Jane Caldwell. She only threw 1 interception in Los Angeles last year.
Had a great season in LA. That is the reason she was the top free agent at the position. A great looking run by Javelle Thompson, a gain of 6 yards.
Javelle Thompson, she runs like a kite without a tail. Watch this. She takes the pitch. Watch this jump cut. Boom. Sees the hole. Gets 6 positive yards. That's how to run the football.
We talked about it earlier. Christelle the Ferrari Harris not playing right now in favor of Javelle Thompson. That sounds like that was a disciplinary move from what we heard from Coach Keith Hack.
Yes, Coach Keith Hack. It was a disciplinary move on his part. She missed a couple practices, kept her out.
Ball out to the Chicago 21-yard line. Caldwell from the shotgun, low snap. A lot of time now, going to try down the field, overshooting her receiver. They're really trying to stretch the field with Javelle Thompson.
She's got the speed, but she's not a receiver. That was a post pattern. Again, Jane Caldwell put it perfectly out there.
Go on 2. Go on 2. Tell them if they fucking jump.
Coach Keith Hack not mincing words, making sure that offense does not jump off sides. That has been part of the challenge early in the season, a very undisciplined approach by this offense.
And the Atlanta defensive line is teeing up. They're anticipating the snap count. If you go on 2, they're hoping to get them to jump.
A 3rd and 4 for this offense. They've yet to be on Atlanta's side of the field. Caldwell remaining at shotgun, throwing to the right flat, has a receiver, and the receiver in the LFL right now, that is A.J. Johnson, complete for 6 yards.
A.J. Johnson, in my opinion, the best receiver in the league. Great statistics. Great throw by Caldwell. A.J. Johnson, if you get it around here, she's going to pull it in.
That's part of that basketball background, a Division I basketball player. They signed her from Lansing, Michigan, had an impact in 2016. In fact, only came in 2nd to Rookie of the Year honors to Kristen Morrison.
Once they get their timing down, it's going to be fun to watch Caldwell throw to A.J. Johnson.
Caldwell from the shotgun. Receivers flank to the right side. Now a trips right set. Caldwell not shy, down the field, has a receiver. That is the aforementioned A.J. Johnson getting behind the defense.
A.J. Johnson plays OMG football. She's going against the top safeties in the league, Kim Perez and Allie Alberts, and goes between them and over the top of him. What a wide receiver.
That time it looked like she beat Amber Clark, who looked lost in the secondary.
Amber Clark, she's new to that secondary, but what a pass by Caldwell and what a route by A.J. Johnson. Bam! Chicago's on the board.
Now the extra point attempt. It looks like Chicago's going to go for a 2-point conversion from the 3, sending Johnson in motion. And we've got our first penalty of the night. This may be a delay a game on Chicago.
Dead ball, delay a game, on the offense.
That is our head referee, Steve Bessie. Not the start you want after a big score like that.
Not at all. That is all on the quarterback, Jane Caldwell. You get momentum, you get a touchdown, and then delay of the game. You can't make that happen.
A little undisciplined here, as we've talked about in the first quarter. You see a more tidy Chicago approach.
A lot of drop balls early in the game, mistakes like that, penalties like that. You can't do it. Although, here they are. With all those mistakes, they can tie it up right here.
The extra point attempt, one-on-one coverage. That is Quilla Franklin, and it looked like Caldwell was late.
Late on the throw, Johnson open, man-to-man coverage.
Hey, ref!
You have to know that coverage, have confidence, know AJ is going to make the move and get open, throw the football.
Hey, you got to let them celebrate. You can't start the clock. We're told they got to celebrate.
Coach Keith Hack, that is indeed a thing in the league. They've allowed the players to celebrate, unlike the No Fun League, and we saw what resulted last week in the Shane Norton viral video. So that's what Coach Keith Hack was talking about there. They've got to give them a chance to celebrate.
The refs have to get coached up. That's a great point. This is not the NFL.
A reverse to Lauren Ziegler. Great defensive pursuit there by Allie Alberts. Alberts, a lot of people don't realize, one of the better free safeties in the game.
Great all-around athlete. Lauren Ziegler, one of the great all-around athletes. It's fun watching those two play against each other right there. Allie Alberts got the best of Ziegler.
That was a 4-yard carry by Ziegler. Ziegler, formerly of the Orlando Fantasy, now playing with the Atlanta Steam. A 2nd and 6. This time the handoff to Locklear. Look at Deandra Fry come up from the corner position.
That's what you have to do. Chicago always keeps the corner on the backside on that side, even when it's the trips to the other side. So she is unblocked, comes in and makes a great tackle.
Deandra Fry, they talk about her being undersized, but she plays big.
Great coaching by defensive guru Keith Hack. If nobody crosses her face, she's free to come in, unblocked, made a great play.
Dakota Hughes in Atlanta offense. Now facing a 3rd and 5, ball at its own 20. Dakota back to pass over the middle and just over the outstretched arms of Lauren Ziegler.
Wow, I thought Ziegler was going to go get it. She got one hand on it. Dakota Hughes put it out there, a great corner route, great throw, but she just couldn't pull it in.
AJ Johnson getting Chicago back in this one.
Hey, Allie, they're going to Purnell on the 5 and out. Jump it right away, because she's not going to run it out and up on the first one. All right?
Back to LFL football night. Got to listen in there in the Chicago bench as this Atlanta offense is facing a 4th and 5.
4th and 5, Keith Hack, he studied game films. He knows they like to go on an out route with the tight end Adrian Purnell right now.
Let's do this here.
Ball at the Atlanta 20-yard line. Certainly Dakota Hughes has the arm to stretch the field, but you got to expect something underneath here.
Well, they can't. You're right. They got Ziegler. They got talent to go deep, but right now they usually go to Purnell.
Here it is, a 4th and 5. Dakota Hughes buying time, trying down the field, has a receiver. That is Lauren Ziegler. They're going to mark her down at about the 1-yard line. I thought she got in here.
I think she did too, but what a pass by Dakota Hughes. I think she has eyes out of her ears. She's looking left, and she comes back and somehow sees Ziegler open on a deep crossing route in the end zone. What a pass, what a catch by Ziegler.
They are going to mark it down at about the 1-yard line. Atlanta now expected to go into its jumbo set and probably give the ball to Jessica Salazar or Brittany Demery.
Either one of them, because their offensive line is one of the best in the LFL, just blowing people away. It's smart call if they do that.
Kind of a power back set, toss left, and that is Jessie Locklear getting into the end zone. Touchdown, Atlanta.
Dane Robinson took our advice, getting the ball to players to get the ball in the end zone. Great blocking, great drive blocks. I'll tell you what, this is a heavyweight bout. Fun to watch. Two powerhouses.
Hey, but we did think it was going to be Demery or Salazar. That was Locklear, so we can't exactly take credit for that.
It was still a great call, great run. And look at Coach Hack. He doesn't look happy right now.
Hey, this Atlanta offense has the #1 ranked defense on the ropes right now. This is a 1-point conversion, another handoff. This time they do go to Jessica Salazar, and she converts. That'll extend Atlanta's lead to 15-6. This has got to be impressive on the road in Chicago to take a lead like this.
Coach Hack, you can tell it on his face right now. He is so upset with his team. But on the other side, Atlanta came in fired up. They lost 6 in a row to Chicago. They want this one bad.
A 5-play, 35-yard drive by Atlanta, taking up about 226.
I cannot tell you how good a pass that was by Dakota Hughes. Looking the other way, she somehow came back across the field and found Ziegler one-on-one in the end zone. What a pass.
Now Jane Caldwell playing the catch-up game here at home. Will start from the 10-yard line, make that the 15. That looked like a design quarterback keeper getting slammed to the ground by Brittany Demery.
People forget the quarterback Jane Caldwell used to play for Atlanta. Brittany Demery saying, welcome back home, QB. Take that. Bam.
Demery, just an absolute force on both sides of the ball, especially on the interior of that defense. This is a defense that's ranked #5, so they can be had. They definitely have some holes there.
There's some holes, but some strength. That takes a lot of strength to body slam Jane Caldwell. She's a beast at quarterback, and a beast just threw her down.
Caldwell now calling the option. That is tossed left. Christelle the Ferrari Harris finally getting into this game.
Coach Keith Hack held her out the whole first quarter because of disciplinary reasons. You got to wonder. I heard rumblings that she might not be happy with Coach Hack or Chicago. I know she can't be happy about being held out the first quarter, and it's good to see her in the game.
Yeah, you've heard some opportunities or at least discussions happening around the league with Christelle Harris wanting to possibly get out of Chicago.
It's hard to believe. I mean, her whole career's there. She's one of the greatest ever, but I've have heard the rumors out there.
A 3rd and 5, Caldwell looking for the slant and missing Shabria Civilian. That was an easy completion.
You do one thing in the next series right now. You throw the ball to fucking AJ. Same fucking play. You throw the ball to AJ. No. No. She's running the same thing. I told her, throw the fucking ball to AJ. She's wide the fuck open.
You got to love that confidence he has with A.J. Johnson, and he's telling his new quarterback, just throw it up there. But it is 4th and 5. You got to wonder about the call. Why not get the first down? But he's the head coach.
They may call an underneath route here to A.J. Johnson, but she's known for downfield threat. And that is what's happening down the field on cue. Number 18, touchdown, Chicago.
Coach Keith Hack, you have to hand it to him. He saw they can't cover her one-on-one, and they're trying man coverage with her. Man-to-man, no way. Look at that. The separation is 5 yards. She's wide open, and Caldwell got the ball down there. We asked if she could throw it deep. She showed us right there.
Willa Franklin getting beat again. They have got to give her some help over the top on Johnson.
You got to wonder why you go man-to-man on A.J. Johnson. You have to double up, or you're right, put zone on top of her, not man-to-man. Coach Keith Hack, not an offensive coordinator, saw that. He said throw it to her no matter what.
You saw him. He went over to Coach James Bruner, who is the offensive coordinator, and said find A.J. Johnson. They do it again here on the 2-point conversion. And just like that, we've got a 1-point ball game.
Caldwell showing signs of becoming that franchise quarterback that she wants to be. A back shoulder right there.
All right? Listen to what I'm saying. I know.
Coach Keith Hack, the OC, he's going to call offense and defense now. I love it.
Now the question, can Atlanta beat Chicago? We sat down with Dakota Hughes.
It's very annoying to be asked the question over and over again, but it's almost to be expected when you haven't beaten them before. So my answer, as always, is that's always the plan, is to beat them. And this team's a little different this year, and to go in with a different kind of confidence and to learn from what happened last year, that's really important, and we have to show that tonight.
Dakota Hughes, she told me in the old days against Chicago, they'd get all emotional, get in fights. Tonight, it's all business.
That is Brittany Demery, speaking of business, gaining 5 yards. Kim Perez on the tackle.
Brittany Demery, she is the bus taking the kids to school. When she gets ahead of steam going north and south, nobody can stop her.
They like the power back option here in Atlanta. We talked about it earlier in the first quarter with Jessica Salazar, the rookie, and Brittany Demery, the second-year back.
With Demery at running back, Ziegler at wide receiver, the only thing they're missing, they need Tiandra Williams, the other wide receiver, to step up a little bit. Other than that, great all-around offense.
And Brittany Demery, nobody wanting to get in front of number 2. That was a gain of 13 yards.
Watch the blocking up front by Wojciechowski, Purnell, and Barton. Outside, taking kick-out blocks. You wonder why I get on for not throwing the ball. That's why. They can run it better than anybody.
And how about the seal block from the number 1 running back on this roster, Jesse Locklear?
You have to hand it to the coaching staff. Offensive coordinator Mark White, he stresses blocking from everyone. Running backs, wide receivers, even quarterbacks after they pitch the ball.
A great answer thus far by this Atlanta offense. They continue to keep it on the ground. That is Jessica Salazar, a gain of 7 yards.
They're giving Salazar a heat check right now. Just give her the football, see if she can break 5, 6, 7 yards anytime she gets the football.
This Chicago defense, they may be the number 1 ranked defense, but they're very athletic, a little bit smaller, and Atlanta taking advantage of that.
It's actually unbelievable. Chicago, Coach Hack, his best defense ever, and they're driving it right down the field on them.
Ball at the Chicago 10-yard line. Handoff again. They're going to stay on the ground with Jessica Salazar. And you could see Dakota Hughes pointing first down. It'll be 1st and goal for this Atlanta offense.
I love the play selection. Very basic. They're doing the sweep left, and they come back with a Y underneath. Another big yardage play.
A 1st and goal. They have yet to go to the air. Certainly they have one of the more capable quarterbacks in the game with Dakota Hughes.
Sometimes it has to be frustrating for her. She can throw it as good as anybody in the league, but they run it all the time.
And look at that, a little release play. Ariana Barton. Touchdown Atlanta. We've got to give some credit to Mark White, the offensive coordinator. He really set up that play action pass.
He sure did, and this is a release play. Play action, they're looking for the run, but Coach Keith Hack knew they're going to do this play. Somebody has to come up from the secondary. When the defensive end rushes to their quarterback, somebody's got to come underneath and pick up the receiver.
Dakota Hughes waiting very patiently here through the first half. Not getting a lot of shots in the air. That was a perfectly set up touchdown.
It makes her passing game very easy when you have a running attack like this.
That is the extra point attempt, toss play. A great stop by Nneka Nwani. So our score will remain 21-14.
Atlanta came to play tonight, just like in the championship game, Eastern Conference Championship last year. They already scored 21 points, and this is in Chicago.
You got to love how their offense is clicking here. You mentioned the introduction of Jessica Salazar. That doesn't look like it's had any hindrance on this offense. And what's most important, I think, is you've got people like Jessie Locklear and Brittany Demery open to the concept of bringing in another running back.
They have all kinds of talent in the backfield now, but really what's making it happen is that offensive line. They're blowing out Chicago.
A 1st and 10 shot down the field. We talked about Chicago not using Christelle Harris in the run game. They're trying to leverage her speed there on the outside.
Just when I said Jane Caldwell looked like a franchise quarterback, now she does not. Harris wide open. Just get it around her, let her catch the football and go in the end zone. She almost threw that one out of bounds.
We've been talking up Atlanta a lot on the offensive side. On the defensive side of the ball, that defense is allowing a lot of receivers to get behind them.
Wide open. Surprising. They have good defensive backs, too.
A 2nd and 10. We've got a trips left. Only a 2-person rush by Atlanta. Down the field, nobody in the spot. It looked like Jane Caldwell was expecting Javille Thompson to break to the flat.
Nobody out there. You got to wonder if she wasn't just throwing that football away because nobody looked open.
We've got a media timeout. Atlanta up 21-14.
All right, I want to stay with our blitz here. All right, don't get beat deep. All right, keep that space there.
Back to LFL football night. That is head coach Dane Robinson, also the defensive coordinator for Atlanta, talking about not getting beat deep.
Well, they have A.J. Johnson, and we even mentioned Allie Alberts, another all-fantasy receiver. But you're right. They have to go into some 2 or 3 deep zone and let everything go underneath.
A 3rd and 10 for the Chicago offense. After that incomplete to Javille Thompson. This is a design keeper. Look at the quarterback in the open field. That is 5 foot 755 pound Jane Caldwell.
Another great call by offensive coordinator Jim Bruner. They went in straight man coverage for some reason. I don't know why. On 3rd and 10 he goes straight man, and that was a design quarterback draw. Everybody was covering a receiver. There was nobody in the middle for Caldwell.
Like you said, there was no middle linebacker there. Possibly a good read by Caldwell, possibly a design play by offensive coordinator Jim Bruner. And now a lot of pressure on Caldwell. That is intercepted. Keon Harrison taking it all the way down to about the 10-yard line.
This was almost a fatal mistake by Caldwell. Instead of just taking the sack, I think she was trying to throw it away. It pops up, almost a touchdown for Atlanta. Terrible play by Jane Caldwell.
Give credit to Quincy Hewitt, who tracked down a sure touchdown by Keon Harrison.
Hey, that's illegal defense. Illegal defense. They had 5 in a box. They had 5 in a box.
Coach Hack was right about that. They had 5 in the box, but it was uncalled. But besides that, just a bad play by the quarterback.
Now a 1st and goal for Atlanta. That is Dakota Hughes buying a lot of time. And finally getting tracked down by Chantel Taylor and Nneka Nwani.
Quarterback Dakota Hughes, surprisingly, is an effective runner. She knows when to tuck it. She's not fast, she's not a bull, but she gets positive yardage every time she turns it up.
We better hope so.
That was ugly.
Hey guys, don't just come in here, listen to the criticism, watch the film, and put it into practice.
One thing, y'all come on. Obviously, we make some changes.
So girls, be ready, listen. Hey, this is second half.
I'm blown, G. I'm blown.
Second half, bro. Whole another half. Short-term memory, it's done. This play thing. Fuck out. We run it.
Right.
We've been here before anyway.
For the second half team.
Once we watch that defensive line film, we're gonna adjust. We just don't know what hole we're going to.
Goddamn.
Every single time we play this team, every single time they convert a 4th and long. Every single time. What is the #1 rule in defensive back play? The #1 rule. Nobody gets behind you, DD. 4th and fucking 5. Unfucking believable. I can't play it for you. I can't. Every fucking time we get this fucking team on a 4th and long, we let somebody get behind us. Every fucking time. Just one time, don't let anybody behind you. Once, shock me. Offense, Jane, where are you, Jane? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? Get your head out of your ass. All right? You guys are too good for this. What they're doing is real simple. This is going back to LFL year 1. That's what they're doing. They're putting 5 in the box and running straight ahead at us. With the current rules, we can't do anything about it. You can't. They outnumber us. They outnumber us. It's real simple. We could do that too. But we're going by what the league wants. We're going to throw the ball. We're going to be entertaining. They're putting 5 in the box, and they're running straight at us. That's all they're going to do in the second half. I'm telling you, that's all they're going to do. They're not going to make the same mistake they made in the playoffs. They're not. They're going to put 5 in the box, and they're going to run straight at us. What we need to do is we need a turnover. All right? We need a turnover. We have to score every single time we have the ball. We have to. All right? We cannot afford stupid turnovers. All right? We have to get those balls that are thrown in the air. Wide receivers, you got to go get those. You got to. Defensive backs, you got to make plays. We're going to make some adjustments because we're going to have to counter what they're doing. What that's going to leave us is exposed in our secondary, which has already shown it can't play man-to-man. So we're going to have to give up something. We're going to have to shut down the run. All right? You guys get it together. We're going to put some stuff on the board here for the defense, and we have to go out right away and get a 4 and out. We have to. All right? Let's go.
Stop and score. Come on, guys.
Go, lady.
I can't play it for you. I can't. Every fucking time we get this fucking team on a 4th and long, we let somebody get behind us. Every fucking time. Where are you, Jane? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? Get your head out of your ass.
Welcome back to halftime here with Mitch Mortaza and Bobby Huco inside Toyota Park in a halftime score of 21-14 with Atlanta in the lead. Now, is this a bit surprising for you, Atlanta coming on the road to Chicago and having a 7-point halftime lead?
Not at all. We saw this before. Last year in the Eastern Conference Championship game, Atlanta was up 21-3 at halftime and blew it in the second half. Now, for them to win, they have to play all 4 quarters tonight. Let's see if they can do it.
That's got to be the big story, the question mark. Can this team hold on and finish? That has been the focus and the motto in Atlanta. Now, no real storylines for me in the first half in terms of a specific individual really standing out. But is there a storyline heading into the second half?
Well, yeah, if I'm a Chicago fan, you got to wonder why the quarterback, Jane Caldwell, is the leading rusher with 34 yards. In their backfield, they have arguably the best back ever in the LFL. Christelle the Ferrari Harris, she needs more touches in the second half.
Well, there was some scoring in the first half of this one, 35 points to be exact. Let's take a look at it. Early on, it was Atlanta with a 1-yard touchdown run with Jessica Salazar, giving them an early 8-0 lead. Chicago did answer in the first. It was Caldwell. We talked about it in the pregame show, connecting with A.J. Johnson on a 23-yard touchdown reception that made the score 8-6. Then Atlanta again on the ground, this time with Jesse Locklear, the veteran running back, taking it in from 1 yard out, giving an Atlanta 15-6 lead. Caldwell again connecting with A.J. Johnson, fast becoming her favorite receiver, this time from 35 yards out. That edged Atlanta's lead to 15-14. Right before the half, Dakota Hughes finally through the air, connecting with Ariana Barton on a 5-yard touchdown reception. That brings us to our halftime score of 21-14. Let's take a look at the first half stats.
As you can see, they're 2 evenly matched teams. For Chicago, the big difference was in turnovers, 2 by quarterback Jane Caldwell. And for Atlanta, they were really one-dimensional with the run. They have a quarterback who can throw as good as anyone in the league. Let Dakota Hughes throw the football in the second half.
A true Eastern Conference battle down to the final 20 minutes. Can Atlanta beat Chicago? Let's find out. The second half kickoff is next. Back to LFL football night as we look at our 2 starting quarterbacks through one half of football.
Dakota Hughes, 2 out of 5, 1 touchdown pass. Jane Caldwell, very hot and cold, 3 out of 14, 2 picks. That's not good, but the 2 touchdown passes is. She has to get those mistakes down to 0.
That is Dominique Collins with a great boot out of the back of the end zone. So Atlanta will start at about 10-yard line.
Wow, what a kick. That's one way not to have a kick return. Just booted 20 yards out of the end zone.
Dakota Hughes, as you said, a great manager through one half of football. We'll see if they give her an opportunity, as you said at halftime, to open it up a bit.
They have Lauren Ziegler, a great wide receiver, all fantasy wide receiver. They have a great running game, but I would open it up just a little bit more.
I need you, line.
You could hear Dakota Hughes saying, I need you, line. Apparently, they're going to try to keep it on the ground. That is what they do. Brittany Demery. And Demery just using that size to gain about 2 yards.
That's what Chicago has to do. Put some people in the box and stop that running game.
The defense is led by Kristen Morrison. We sat down with her.
I think every game you gain that confidence that you need with your coaches, with your teammates. Last year was my very first season, my very first game. And every single game you learn new experiences. And once you get that flow, every single game, you're like, the game slows down in its way. And it just becomes simple. It's just X's and O's.
There is not a middle linebacker in the LFL that can cover sideline to sideline like Kristen Morrison.
And how about that stop? Number 7 back in the mix here. You could see right at the line of scrimmage attacking Brittany Demery.
I like what Chicago's doing on defense right now. They are shutting down the running game. You see Morrison, 8.5 solo tackles. She is a beast in the middle. Right now they're playing up to it.
A 3rd and 6. Hughes, and that looked like Lauren Ziegler got an early start. Check that, Jesse Locklear. You can see Dakota Hughes motioning to Locklear. Watch the football.
Red ball. False start. Number 9 on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat 3rd down.
What made it a very manageable 3rd and 6, now a 3rd and 11.
This is huge for Atlanta. They didn't score right before halftime. Here it is early in the 3rd quarter. They need points on one of these drives.
That is Dakota Hughes talking it over with offensive coordinator Mark White on what you mentioned has got to be a key 3rd and 11 here. This is not a play that I suspect you keep it on the ground. I think you've got to open it up through the air with Dakota Hughes.
They have to. They were up in the Eastern Conference Championship game 21-3.
A game they ultimately lost. This is Hughes showing her athleticism. And doing a little commentary on the late hit after.
She didn't like that, but she is such a competitor. I like to see it. She said it was going to be all business, but she got right back in the face of the Chicago players. She got great yardage. It was a late hit. You don't hit the quarterback. That should have been a penalty.
Oh, that was soft.
That's still, you can't touch her that far off the field.
Dakota Hughes, one of the protected stars in this game. Anytime you've got a star quarterback, the referees are going to be a little more protective, I think.
I guarantee you Keith Hack would not say that was a penalty, but I will.
A 4th and 3. Ball at the Atlanta 22-yard line. Under center going to Brittany Demery. Look at the defensive play by Nneka Nwani. Holding on to Demery by the back of her hair.
Wow, trying to get away from Nneka Nwani is like trying to take a bone from a pit bull. Watch this play. From the backside, looks like she's going to get the 1st down, just yanked down. What kind of strength is that?
Nwani, one of the original members of that defense, took a year away from the Bliss, played with Atlanta actually, and then re-signed with Chicago this year.
You really got to hand it to that Chicago defensive line on that stand.
A 1st down handoff. That is Christelle Harris just stiff-arming that Atlanta defense.
That is why she's one of the greatest in the game. You saw Chicago, the same thing, an unblocked cornerback. They make the tackle. Right there, Christelle Harris, one juke, boom, she's outside for big yardage.
As we said, Harris not really happy with the way she's been used in this offense in 2016 and what has amounted to an early 2017.
Yeah, she's been used about as much as the H in spaghetti. She wants the ball all the time.
1st and 10, ball at the Atlanta 14 now. That is Harris now lining up in the backfield. A toss play, an awkward setup by Caldwell. And the defense containing Christelle Harris to 2 yards.
You know, I can't blame her, though. Here's the best ever. She only has so many years left in her career. She wants to play.
A great open field tackle there by Alfie Gore. This secondary has struggled to cover, but they've done an excellent job coming up to tackle.
That is 100% right. The defensive line, they've done okay, but that secondary is coming up quick to help them out.
2nd and 8 now. Ball at the Atlanta 12-yard line. Johnson in motion. Another option play. That is Jane Caldwell using her size again. Gaining 9 yards on that quarterback keeper.
It was actually a straight option play with a fake reverse coming underneath. Caldwell made a great play. She could have pitched it early, boom, right there outside, but she kept it herself, broke one tackle, and got 9 yards.
Jessica Salazar getting a hold of Jane Caldwell's hair. That was the only thing that kept her from scoring.
And that is legal. You got to trim it up or you're going to get pulled like that.
It is part of the uniform. A 1st and goal. Ball at about the 3-yard line. A handoff. That looked a little like it was mistimed with Harris. That's Dina Wojcicki saying that ball came out, and I think they're going to give her a touchdown here.
She got across the line. It looked to me like she broke the plane.
That is a touchdown, Chicago. So obviously Chicago moving back to using Christelle Harris, heavily leveraged in this drive.
That was all Christelle Harris. As you mentioned, that was not a clean handoff from Caldwell to Harris, but she made something happen and got the ball in the end zone.
And don't look now, we've got a 1-point ball game. Chicago attempting for the 2-point conversion here. And Caldwell being decapitated by Keon Harrison. Harrison, who earlier nearly converted on that Caldwell interception.
Keon Harrison, she comes in with a clothesline, almost takes Caldwell's head off. Wow, what a hit.
Harrison, who is a converted cornerback, they've got her playing defensive end and is having some good success. You could see the physicality that she plays with.
You think these teams like each other? They're going at it right now.
Yeah, I don't think Atlanta, we heard it earlier from Dakota Hughes, they're sick of being asked if they can beat Chicago. You could see a little bit of that animosity coming to the surface.
There's been some major fights in this series.
A 1st and 10 handoff. A little misdirection and a blow to the head. Dominique Collins coming and taking a shot at the head of Brittany Demery.
This is exactly what we expected. Toe-to-toe heavyweights. This is great LFL football.
For those of you fans that have witnessed the massacres thus far, the 100-plus ball games, completely lopsided, welcome to LFL football.
I asked Dean Robinson if he's going to hold anything in the bag for next time they may meet up in the playoffs. He said, heck no, we're showing everything tonight.
A 2nd down handoff. Look at how aggressive that Chicago front line is being. That time led by the entire team. Let's give credit to Dominique Collins.
That is classic Chicago football right now. We mentioned it at halftime. You have Dakota Hughes, one of the best pure throwers in the league. You got to let her throw the football.
We've only seen that really surface with that Ariana Barton touchdown late in the 2nd quarter. That is a look at offensive coordinator Mark White. Certainly this is an area you can test down the field.
I would think so. With her arm, with her receivers, I say do it.
Ball at the 19 of Atlanta. Still obviously a lot of time remaining in this game. Hughes back to pass, rolling right. Getting some pressure and nearly intercepted by Allie Alberts. And that is not a good sign. Hughes favoring that right arm. Look at the physicality. We've got Kristen Morrison mic'd up, and she just blew up Dakota Hughes.
All right. The right one. All right. Go. Memphis left. Z motion. 8, 6, 8.
This crowd getting on Hughes. You get a feeling that this defense is starting to smell a little blood in the water.
They are absolutely playing like sharks, and this crowd is like sharks right now. I love it. Classic LFL football.
A pair of heavyweights going at it. A 1-point ball game and a 4th and 6. Dakota Hughes, look at the pressure. Dominique Collins coming off the edge like an animal. And we've got a penalty as well. This could be intentional grounding on Dakota Hughes.
They have Hughes rattle, a jailhouse blitz. They came with everything. She totally threw it away. That is intentional grounding. Dakota Hughes acting like a rookie on that play.
Coach Keith Hack loving the play of Dominique Collins in this defense. That was a big turnover on downs. You felt a little momentum shift back to Atlanta. But for them to go 4 and out here, I think that momentum goes back to Chicago here.
Absolutely. Dakota Hughes is a veteran quarterback. She has to sense with this crowd reacting like that, they're going to come with some kind of blitz. You got to get rid of the football quick, and she did not.
Chicago getting under center, but they will not get a play off. That'll be the end of the third quarter, and we've got a 21-20 ball game. I'll come back to the fourth quarter in Chicago. Let's go down to the field.
This is your moment. Execute. Take care of the football. Uplift each other. I don't want anything other than execution.
That is head coach Dane Robinson, a.k.a. motivational speaker Tony Robbins.
He sounds like Tony Robbins, and he needs Tony Robbins right now. They lost 6 in a row to Chicago. He doesn't want his team to fade again in the second half.
This is Caldwell from the shotgun. Fakes it to Harris, throwing into the end zone. Had A.J. Johnson. An incredible play by Quilla Franklin to break that up.
Quilla Franklin tried to jam A.J. Johnson off the line. It didn't work. She got right behind him. Good throw by Caldwell. Looks like a touchdown, and she bangs it out of there. Good play by Quilla.
We have been getting on this Atlanta secondary, but give them some credit there. Alfie Gore and Quilla Franklin finally making some plays in this game.
Franklin was beat off the line, beat in the end zone. The ball was there, and she made a play. Great play. I can't tell you how good that is.
That was a touchdown in the making. That would have been Chicago's first and only lead of this game. Now it's a 2nd and goal. Ball remains at about the 7-yard line. Caldwell again back to pass into the end zone. And we've got a flag here. This could be on Franklin. A.J. Johnson agreeing. He's a tough assignment one-on-one for anybody.
Pass interference, number 1 on the defense, automatic first down.
I don't get it. Quilla Franklin, there's no way she's going to cover A.J. Johnson one-on-one. They tried to back shoulder. She went right through Johnson. Definitely a penalty, but I'm really confused. Atlanta's defense, they're not double covering A.J. Johnson.
Yeah, Franklin is tough. She's only standing at 5'4". They've got A.J. Johnson down at 5'8". That alone gives a huge advantage to Johnson. And you could see Franklin just huffing and puffing.
She's beat right now. She needs help. If I was Chicago, I'd go right at her again.
A 1st and goal, ball at the 4-yard line after that pass interference call on Franklin. Beavers flanked to the left side of Caldwell. And Caldwell just waiting on Johnson to break free, but nothing doing. That was Adrian Purnell. It is about time they get some kind of pressure on Caldwell.
I like it. Defensive coordinator and head coach Dane Robinson put a pressure package to put heat on Caldwell. And all fantasy, Adrian Purnell comes off her block, makes a great tackle.
And we've got Adrian Purnell mic'd up.
One thing she is not is quick.
Just like Tim Tebow, she's a power running quarterback. She doesn't have flat straightaway speed.
A 2nd and goal, ball backed up at the 6-yard line. That is Christelle the Ferrari Harris in the backfield. Toss left to Harris. Harris trying to get to the outside. A great edge tackle by Amber Clark.
What a play. She shed her block, and then to bring down the Ferrari one-on-one, that is very hard to do. What a play by Clark.
Now a 3rd and goal for this Atlanta defense. What a stop this would be. We talked about key goal line stance and turnovers. This is as big as it gets.
This is classic smash mouth football. Who wants it more right now?
A 3rd and goal handoff to Christelle Harris, fighting through arm tackles. And a great tackle there by Quilla Franklin. This defense not willing to give up an inch.
Not at all. This is how to bring the Ferrari down. Gang tackle or bring everybody. Don't quit. If you don't quit, you bring her down. That's great defense.
Let's give credit to Satrice Fox-Birdwell there, cleaning it up. And this defense now knowing this could be the ball game right here. A 4th and goal. Ball inside to about the 4-yard line.
This crowd is on their feet. This is a huge play for Jane Caldwell in the Chicago offense.
Chicago being tested here, a 4th and goal. Receivers flank to the right of Caldwell. Now Caldwell taking it in herself.
I'm not going to try to hurt you. I'm not going to hit you. You're relaxed. Chill out. I don't even know the fuck you are, fatty.
Regardless of Dina Wojcicki, that is a Chicago touchdown.
Dina Wojcicki coming over, talking trash at Jane Caldwell. I love the way Quincy Hewitt came over and protected her quarterback and got Wojcicki out of there.
And the bigger story, this is the first lead of the night for the Chicago Bliss, up 26-21. Had a little throw late into the flat, intercepted by Quilla Franklin. That'll take us to our media timeout with Chicago finally fighting back.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Turn it up. Go after Dakota. Let's get her. We're going after Dakota.
I got you.
Back to LFL football night. Head coach Keith Hack saying that his defense is going to apply some pressure here to Dakota Hughes.
When I interviewed Dakota Hughes, she said she has an audible package in if that happens to go deep to Ziegler.
A 1st and 10 ball at the 15 of Atlanta. That is a reverse to Ziegler. And Ziegler getting corralled down to the ground by Chantel Taylor.
You mentioned it earlier. This Chicago defense smells blood in the water. Almost takes Ziegler's head off. Chantel Taylor showing why she's an all-fantasy defensive end.
Taylor was a great bookend to Yashi Rice, who just retired, but not really missing a beat here with Nneka Nwani on the other side.
Not at all. They are getting better as the game goes on. Coach Keith Hack has got to love the way they're playing right now.
A 2nd and 5 ball at the Atlanta 20. They're going to go back to the ground. Jesse Locklear. That defense not having it. That's Allie Alberts coming up from the free safety position along with that young lady, Chantel Taylor.
There's a lot of time left, 4 minutes and 20 seconds. If you're Atlanta, do you want to run some clock off? Because if you score here and run the clock out, game's over. Or do you go for the jugular real quick?
Well, they are keeping it on the ground. I think they know how much time is left here, and they have all of their timeouts, so time is not a factor here. This does have to be a points resulting type drive. That was a quick pass. Lauren Ziegler in the flat just dropping it. Normally Ziegler and Dakota Hughes very much so on the same page. Not there tonight.
That's twice tonight. Dakota Hughes behind Lauren Ziegler with the pass, and she can't hold on to it. That's huge right there. Now it's 4th down again.
That drop now absolutely sets up a 4th and 3 here. If you're Atlanta, you got to find a way to extend this drive, not just for the points, but you can't give the ball back over to Chicago in this kind of field position.
Not at all. This is where Atlanta, for the last 6 games, they can never close the deal. Right now, Dakota Hughes has to come up with something.
This is exactly where you earn your reputation as a quarterback. Now Hughes will have that opportunity, throwing into the flat and overshooting her receiver. That pass had no opportunity with 2 Chicago defenders.
Not at all.
We do have a penalty here. That is head referee Steve Bessie looking over to Chicago, so this has to be on Atlanta.
Holding, number 9 on the offense. That penalty be declined. 1st down.
That holding call on Ariana Barton, a big stop for that Chicago defense.
That was huge, and Dakota Hughes again looked rattled. She had time in the pocket. She could have stayed in the pocket, but she went outside and there was nothing there. Bad play by Hughes.
The clock just became a factor with a little over 2 minutes remaining. Chicago taking over. That is handoff Harris. A gain of 2 yards. This should take us down to the 2-minute warning.
And you have the best back to run the clock down in the history of the LFL. They could give it to Chrisdell Harris every play now.
That will take us to the final 2 minutes of play. Chicago up 26-21. Next week on LFL Football Night, it is Alex Drake and the Omaha Heart going to Pittsburgh to take on Remy Olenzak and the Rebellion.
Omaha is not out of the picture. One of these teams has to lose tonight, and if they win, they could be right in the thick of things.
A 2nd and 8 for Chicago. Fakes the handoff to Harris. Looking down the field, one-handed snag. How impressive is A.J. Johnson?
You mean A.J. Beckham Jr.? That was unbelievable one-handed stab. Wow.
A 20-yard touchdown connection by Caldwell to a one-handed A.J. Johnson.
This might be the greatest catch I've ever seen in the LFL. A.J. Johnson making it look easy.
And that looked like Quilla Franklin and Amber Clark just absolutely blew each other up, and A.J. Johnson, as a result, went in for her 3rd touchdown of the night.
That is absolutely a dagger right there by Chicago. We thought they're going to run the clock out with Chrisdell Harris. They go deep, and what a catch by A.J. Johnson. Incredible.
And that changes the dynamic of this game completely. We've got a 2-score game now, with Chicago going up 32-21.
I hate to say it, but that actually might have helped Atlanta out. They got a thrower in Dakota Hughes who can score quickly. They got time to score.
They do have all timeouts still remaining. That's the extra point attempt. Kristen Morrison getting some love on the offensive side. And that'll extend Chicago's lead to 34-21.
Quarterback Jane Caldwell, she stepped up right when she had to. She comes up with 2 clutch passes. Great job by Caldwell.
There's a reason one franchise is considered a dynasty and the other one has yet to win a playoff game.
You're absolutely right. I mean, Chicago's in the business of kicking butt, and they do it every time. Every game they show up.
This crowd sensing it. They're going to test this young signal caller, Dakota Hughes, as Atlanta takes it over on 1st and 10 from the 15. Hughes back to pass, stepping up in the pocket, and right into the teeth of Chantel Taylor.
They are bringing the heat. They are having fun. This is the champions right now. Chantel Taylor having Dakota Hughes for dinner. Watch this pocket collapse. Right there, looks like she has time to get rid of it. All of a sudden, boom, Taylor grabs her and she's out.
You could see Hughes was looking down the field. I don't even think she saw Taylor coming. And Chantel Taylor and this defense are just pinning their ears back now.
That's what they do from the edge. You get that first step outside and you meet at the quarterback.
2nd and 11, 4-person blitz. And I'm not sure how Dakota Hughes completed that. Caught by Lauren Ziegler.
This is called scouting by Keith Hack. Fry on that set, they always bring a trailer underneath, and that is Ziegler. Fry is waiting for her to come across and absolutely takes her head off. Great coaching by Keith Hack.
We've got both sidelines mic'd up. Let's listen in.
Let's go. Hey. Didi. Hey. Let's go. They're going to try to get the first down. I want man-to-man. I want man-to-man. Kim, you come up the A-gap hard. A-gap. All right? Cover 1.
Which one? You want her in the strong or her?
You guys decide. You guys talk. You attack the snap hand. Okay. She attacks the snap hand.
I think Coach Keith Hack knows the importance of closing this one out.
Absolutely. He knows to tell that defense to not let anybody, especially Lauren Ziegler, get behind him.
And then go out of bounds.
Atlanta does have an opportunity here. You mentioned that quick score by Johnson could have actually played into the hands of the Steam.
Absolutely. You know Dakota Hughes, she was known back in the day as the cardiac kid for pulling out games like this. If they would have just had Chrisdell Harris beat the clock down, the game would have been over. Right now, if they can get lucky and get in the end zone, you never know.
Atlanta being nearly at midfield does have an opportunity to go to the end zone and will still need an onside conversion to have a shot in this one.
Somehow you have to get the ball to Lauren Ziegler. Again, an awesome receiver. She can bring the ball down. We'll see what they do.
Now a 3rd and 2. Hughes back to pass, has a receiver. That is Adrian Purnell. And if Purnell keeps her momentum, she could have walked into the end zone.
She could have. What a great read by Dakota Hughes. They came with a jailhouse blitz. She came on the backside, almost a hot receiver. If she stays in, that's 6 points.
You could see Purnell's momentum just taking her out of bounds, but a great play call because obviously Chicago is getting after Hughes at this point.
There's still a lot of time, 54 seconds left.
A 1st and 10 ball at the Chicago 14. Fakes the handoff again into the flat, and again, Adrian Purnell.
This is classic Dakota Hughes. She is icing the pocket right now. Coming down to the wire, she's completing passes.
And it looks to be we've got a penalty here. Early indication is it may be on Chicago, so they may be able to tack on some yardage after that Purnell completion.
It'd be an interesting call, but depending what the call is, that's the yardage is going to be more than the penalty. She got 13 yards.
Yeah, more than likely they're going to decline this. You can see they're looking over into the Atlanta bench. Head referee Steve Bessie.
Offsides. Number 3 on defense. Decline. 2nd down.
That's Nneka Nwani being called off sides. They'll obviously keep the result of the play here.
You know what's interesting on that Adrian Purnell going out of bounds? Remember right before halftime, Dame Robinson said play smart when she was going to try to run for a touchdown, go down? She probably was trying to play smart and run out of bounds.
Not when there's nobody ahead of you, though. You got to get it into the end zone. Now a 2nd and 1. A great move by Hughes. And Hughes just trying to get to the edge. Give credit to Deandra Fry in that pursuit.
I'm telling you, this game is not over. There's still 45 seconds left. If they get in here and somehow can get an onside kick, who knows?
That'll set up a 1st and goal, that Dakota Hughes run. And like you mentioned, there's 45 seconds remaining. And there's still an onside kick that they will have to convert if they can get a score here. 1st and goal, Hughes under center. Handing it off to Jesse Locklear. That is not going to get it done. Deandra Fry and Allie Alberts all over that play.
Nothing at all in the clock. A lot of time came off the clock, down to 34 seconds. Great play by that Chicago defense.
Now a 2nd and goal. They will get a temporary stop here as Atlanta elects to call a timeout. Now that you're at the 2-yard line, if you're Atlanta, do you keep it on the ground or take a quick shot to the end zone?
No, you have to pass it. They just got stuffed on the ground, took a lot of time off the clock. You got to throw it here.
Coach Dane Robinson coaching up that sideline. Now let's switch it over to Chicago. We've got Keith Hack mic'd up.
Listen. Real simple. All right, Kim, I want you light up in Nani and Kristen. All right, Kim, I want you outside of Purnell. All right, Chantel, I want you on the other outside.
What if Purnell's on her side?
Listen to me. Then you guys flip. All right, you're just coming. You're all coming. Listen. Whoever has the wide receivers, you stay man-to-man. You go man-to-man on Barton. You stay with Purnell.
Got it.
All right?
Okay.
All right?
You could see Coach Keith Hack specifically saying, watch Adrian Purnell in the flat.
Absolutely. Purnell or Ziegler, that's who they have to go to. They have to throw it because they can't afford to take more time off the clock. But I'll tell you what, this Chicago crowd and the sideline, I guarantee they thought this game was over after A.J. Johnson's catch.
A 2nd and goal for this Atlanta offense. They do have an opportunity to run it here. A little bit of collision in the backfield. Hughes off her back foot, connecting with Ariana Barton. And that'll be an Atlanta touchdown.
Wow, this game is not over. What a play by Hughes. She buys time in the pocket. Ariana Barton at 5'10", going one-on-one against Kim Perez, one of the best DBs in the LFL. That's just being an athlete. She came down with the ball. Keith Hack cannot believe it.
That is exactly what you needed if you're in Atlanta. A quick score. Now having the opportunity for the onside kick.
They actually have a chance to win this thing. If they get the onside kick and score, they win the ball game.
They are down 7 points. That is a 1-score game. Electing to only go for a point here and possibly win it. This could be a penalty on Atlanta.
Dead ball, delay a game on the offense. Repeat the PAT.
That's tough because now you go from a situation where you convert on the extra point, make it a 6-point game, and play for the win versus the tie.
That's a cardinal sin by a quarterback. You have to know what the clock says up there. You can't let it run out like that on an extra point.
Atlanta did have a timeout remaining. In that situation, Dakota Hughes has got to call a timeout.
You have to know what's on the clock. I mean, that's it. It's that simple.
Now the extra point attempt all the way back from the 6. Hughes was not anticipating the snap. That ball is still loose. So our score will remain 34-27. Atlanta's still very alive. They're only 7 points down in this.
They're alive, but I mean, you got to wonder if there's demons in their head about Chicago. They got a chance to close this game out, get in the end zone. They need the extra point, and 2 blunders in a row.
Again, it's a 7-point game. Even if it were an 8-point game, you're still alive in this. Setting up a very dramatic onside kick.
They got to regroup. You're 100% correct. If they get the ball, they got to forget about the extra point.
I know. Well, my bad.
That's Dina Wojcicki, the center, talking it over with Dakota Hughes, saying, I wasn't even ready for the snap.
Big mistake, but you got to forget about it right now. All you got to focus on is getting the onside kick and then getting in the end zone in 31 seconds.
We're about to get your football back, and then we'll finish the game.
Coach Dane Robinson trying to reassure his starting quarterback that she's going to get another shot in this.
You have to give Dakota Hughes credit. She took the team right down the field and scored a touchdown. Heck of the extra point. They're still in it.
Lauren Ziegler will get an opportunity here. All they'll need, obviously, they've got to clear 10 yards. This is traditional, just like the NFL game. The ball has to go 10 yards. And obviously, Chicago has their best hands people. A.J. Johnson, Allie Alberts, and Kim Perez in that front line.
He practices all the time in practice. This is the first time in a game.
That is a high kick. I don't know if they were trying to get behind the coverage, but that had no opportunity.
Wow, that is not what Lauren Ziegler wanted. That wasn't even close. That was like a pop-up. She could have fair caught that. The game's over.
How about Deandra Fry? We haven't talked much about her, but defensively, she's been a demon. And Johnny on the spot there.
Deandra Fry, great game, making great tackles from the cornerback position. But I bet you 100% that Lauren Ziegler wants that kick back. Usually you want 2 quick hops and then a big bounce when your team's under it, but the team never got a chance to get under it.
What a treat for LFL fans after they have seen some disastrous scores earlier in the year. This game absolutely lived up to its billing.
Atlanta can definitely play with Chicago, the champions. They just got to get over that F word. You know what F word I'm talking about?
I'm afraid to ask, Bob.
Finish the game. They were up 21-3 in the championship game last year. They're up 21-14 at halftime. They got to finish the game. They'll see each other again this year.
I don't want to project too far into the future because you have Omaha and Pittsburgh in the East, but in all likelihood, this is going to be our rematch in the Eastern Conference.
2 great coaches, 2 great organizations, great players on both teams. This is LFL football.
Still a good amount of football remains ahead of both of these teams as Chicago will match up against the Omaha Heart and Atlanta will get a test against Austin at home. That'll do it for us here from Chicago, Illinois. For my partner, Bobby Huco, this is Mitch Mortaza. We will see you next week on LFL Football Night.
Have a seat. Give me your full attention. All good. Stay with me. Stay with me. Hold up from untying your shoes, taking off gloves, everything like that. If anything y'all agree on, I've earned your immediate attention right now. All right? Not gonna lie to you the fact that, man, we wanted this game. But you know what? There's no question marks over what could have been done better, how it could have been done better. It just came down, like I said, to the simple execution. You played with great effort. You were in the right alignment. Our assignments are off here. The formula is not complex. The formula is not that confusing. All right? This team, you are not broken. It just comes down to that one word that will continue to hang over your heads and on your shoulders until you shrug it off, which is finish. That's all it comes down to. Regardless of the outcome, you don't get the luxury of being, to let it stew. You don't get the luxury. Because I'm going to slap you back into reality. There's a team in Austin, Texas that's been prepping for you for a while. So you better answer that call. Answer that call quick. Regardless of the outcome, resiliency will stand. Resiliency will shine. Just because, once again, you have a great opportunity in 2 weeks to do it in front of your family, your friends, your loved ones. You get another opportunity. You get the chance to go here, and with all intents and purposes, is chapter 3. You need win number 2, but here's 3. Trust me. You let go of the idea of being 6-0, but it doesn't mean you stop working for 6. It doesn't mean you stop ending with 6. That's all that means. You still play for 6. That's why I didn't say 6-0. You play, you work, you end with 6. But you got to get 2 in 2 weeks. The formula is